Imagine climbing the Himalayas with nothing but an ice axe and some canned food for preparation. In 1926, that's exactly what Lieutenant Angwin did when he was tasked with mapping one of the most dangerous valleys in British India.
You know what's fascinating about this story? He had absolutely zero mountain climbing experience before being sent on this 5-month survey mission. Talk about being thrown into the deep end.
Well, that's what makes his account so remarkable. He describes learning mountain craft on the job, starting out somewhat shy of his first 2,000-foot snow climb, then just weeks later, tackling some seriously technical peaks.
The way he handled those electrical storms is just mind-blowing. I mean, getting struck by lightning multiple times and just carrying on with his work?
Oh man, those lightning encounters were intense. There's this incredible moment where his team member gets knocked down twice by lightning strikes and their ice axes are literally humming with electricity. But here's what's wild. They just kept going.
That reminds me of modern climbing accidents. Even with today's advanced weather forecasting and safety equipment, lightning still accounts for about 5% of all climbing fatalities in the Himalayas.
And you know what's really striking? The way he describes getting hit by lightning himself on Urhai Peak. The bolt burned a perfect pencil-sized hole through his bed, left him with burns all over his legs, and, get this, his first concern was whether he could still complete his survey observations before dark.
So what exactly was he trying to accomplish with all this risk-taking?
Well, he was creating the first accurate maps of this region, which was crucial for both military and civilian purposes. These surveys would become the foundation for all future exploration and development. But here's what's fascinating. He had to balance this precise scientific work with local customs and beliefs.
Like when he actually sacrificed a goat to appease the weather god of Gangachoti, right?
Exactly. And the really interesting thing is that it worked, at least according to his account. The weather cleared the very next day, but beyond these spiritual encounters, he was also dealing with some fascinating local characters.
The description of those Kohistani tribesmen is particularly vivid, making impromptu pipes out of mud and taking turns lying on their bellies to smoke.
And let's not forget about Raja Natullah Khan, who had this amazing habit of claiming other people's stories as his own memories. It really shows how oral history worked in these regions, this beautiful blending of personal experience and inherited stories.
You know, what's really remarkable is how much of what he documented still holds true today. Many of these valleys and communities remain relatively unchanged, even if the experience of visiting them is quite different.
That's right. And his observations about the potential for skiing in the region were surprisingly forward-thinking. He even laid out specific routes and discussed the logistics of winter operations, basically blueprinting what would become adventure tourism decades later.
Well, that's what makes these early accounts so valuable. They're not just about mapping geography, they're about mapping human experience.
And speaking of human experience, I love how he maintains this very proper British composure through everything. Like when he feels compelled to finish his dinner during a lightning storm just because his bearer brought it, wouldn't want to appear impolite while being struck by lightning.
That combination of scientific precision and human vulnerability really makes this story timeless, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. And you know what's really incredible? The maps he helped create are still being used as reference points today. Modern satellite imagery has confirmed the remarkable accuracy of these early surveys, even though they were done with relatively primitive equipment under the most challenging conditions imaginable.